My middle school used Google Drive to organize all of their files, meaning I have all my files from middle school. And let me tell you, I was quite the person in middle school. So in 7th grade, my social studies class was focused on world geography and the different government systems, religions, and cultures around the world. And that class was a blast. My teacher was a Canadian veteran who I'm gonna call Mr. Dank because he would fill the classroom with political memes, Banksy posters, and a Harry Styles life-size cardboard cutout. He was pretty great. One time, Mr. Dank was teaching us about fascism, so he asked the class for examples of isms, as in aspects of fascism. We didn't quite get what he meant, so we said that they were words ending in ISM. Our girl raises her hand, and Mr. Dank calls on her. She looks at him and goes, you mean like prism? In his class, Mr. Dank had us do creative projects. For one project, we had to make a creative thing based on a Gandhi quote. My quote was, "An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind." This was around the time when I got introduced to The Odd Ones Out and I saw his comics. I thought to myself, I could totally do that, and then downloaded Paint Tool Sci and made this. "An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind" by me. That's right, I misquoted the quote in the project. An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. My money. Revenge. Ha! Now we're both broke. I think this was really the peak of my artistic career. I like how I didn't know how to draw faces, so I just put the meme faces from 2009 on the bodies. This is some quality entertainment. Another unit that we studied was the Israeli-Pakistan debate over Jerusalem. We had to write a paragraph about how we could solve the Israeli-Pakistan problem and make a creative project. At that point in time, I was making these videos where I edited together memes, so I thought it would be a great idea to make this.
The people of Israel.
To be like,
in Jerusalem.
If you want to watch the full thing, I'll leave a link in the description. To this day, I don't think I ever got a grade on the assignment. I think Mr. Dank watched it and was like, nope, just nope. All of the other projects were things like posters or poems and maybe a song, but there was just me with my meme comic and this video. I was a pretty great student. My English class that year was just as wacky. I was a huge weeb at the time. A huge weeb. I would post anime rants on my Google Plus, and I wore a Naruto headband to all my cross-country competitions because I thought it would make me go faster. My English teacher, let's call him Mr. Giraffe because he had a large stuffed giraffe in his room, worked on Avatar: The Last Airbender before becoming an English teacher. So I thought he was super cool because he knew about anime. So I wanted to connect with him and show him that we both knew about anime. So on the first writing assignment where we had to make a parody of the poem 13 Ways of Looking at a Blackbird, I wrote an amazing poem. 11 Ways of Looking at a Naruto Headband. When my teacher saw this title, he turned to me and said, "I know exactly who you are now." He recently had a concussion and was having trouble remembering things, so I don't know if he meant that he remembered me, but those words have stuck with me for the rest of my life, and I don't know why. So there's this thing called NaNoWriMo that my entire grade participated in. Basically, you would write an entire novel in a month by writing every day. Before we actually started, we spent a couple days just getting lectures from the teachers that our novels would suck. My novel was about a boy named Dave whose self-esteem was lowered so far that he developed a multiple personality disorder corresponding to the day of the week. I called it Daves of the Week. I wrote the entire novel plot around that pun, and I wrote the whole thing in this edgy, overdramatic style with fancy words like conviction and prosper. I included an excerpt from my novel in the description of this video. Mr. Giraffe asked me if he could keep mine to show the future classes. Poor future classes. Another writing assignment we did was to prove that we hadn't robbed the classroom. See now, Mr. Giraffe had made a crime scene in our classroom where the giant stuffed giraffe in the room had been stolen, and everyone was a suspect. Now, on a previous assignment, I had done so well that Mr. Giraffe just assigned me and someone else to help people write their alibis and not write our own. So I didn't, but I still wanted to be involved, so I asked Mr. Giraffe some random questions, like, where were you at the time of the robbery? Did you tamper with the crime scene? What's your Harry Potter house? The night before it was due, I had some free time, so I was like, screw it, let's write this. And I wrote 872 beautiful words about secret cults, explaining Mr. Giraffe's mean means, motives, and opportunity for stealing the giraffe. And it was the most beautiful piece of nonsense I've ever written. I used Harry Potter houses in my reasoning. Harry Potter houses. And I tried to prove that my school was a cult. The best part of all this nonsense and madness was that he gave me an A and asked if he could save it as an example for next year's class. There's a new drawing style now. That's right. It's new, fresh, and good, and I'm trying to improve the quality of the channel, so I'm like, hey, let me make a new drawing style. So it's gonna be this, as long as you guys are like, ah, it's good. And if you guys are like, ah, man, that sucks and it's terrible, and you should go be ashamed of yourself in a corner, then I'll go be ashamed of myself in a corner and change the style. But I think it's nice. Tell me what you think. Also, if you want to hear more about my middle school projects, I have plenty more regrettable, terrible middle school projects. So just tell me that in the comments below. But it's like 4 o'clock a.m. and it's my birthday, so I'm gonna go to sleep. Cool, thanks, bye.